So there was an incident that we first learned about 2 weeks ago.
A former mobster just dropped a bombshell about why Diddy's latest prison transfer might be more dangerous than anyone realizes. And what he said will blow your mind. Look, you clicked this video for a reason. You want the real story about what's happening with Diddy behind bars. And trust me, this gets wild. Diddy just got transferred to a New Jersey facility called Fort Dix. On the surface, it looks like an upgrade. Better conditions, more freedom, nicer facilities. But here's what nobody's talking about. A former mobster who actually did time is warning that this better prison might actually be more dangerous for Diddy than the hellhole he was in before. I know that sounds crazy, right? How can a nicer prison be worse? Well, stick with me because in this video, you'll discover why the better conditions might actually put Diddy at greater risk, the shocking knife attack that nearly ended his life, what actual mobsters really think about Diddy's crimes, and the real reason why low security could be Diddy's worst nightmare. Okay, so here's what you need to know before we dive deep. Diddy was sentenced to about 4 years in prison for prostitution-related charges. He's already been locked up for about a year while awaiting trial, so really, he's got about 2.5 years left to serve. Now, the place he was at before, MDC Brooklyn, folks, that place was described as hell on earth. I'm talking violent inmates, rats and bugs everywhere, spoiled food, and constant stabbings. It's one of the worst federal jails in America. So when Diddy got transferred to Fort Dix in New Jersey last week, everyone thought, okay, this is better for him. Photos even came out showing him smiling in the yard, hanging out with other inmates, looking pretty comfortable actually. But here's the twist. Sometimes a nicer prison can actually be way more dangerous. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Trust me, this gets interesting. Before we talk about his new prison, you need to hear about what happened at his old one, because this is absolutely insane. During Diddy's sentencing hearing, a shocking detail came out. Someone held a knife to his throat while he was sleeping.
And Diddy claimed that somebody held a knife to his throat. He woke up and this guy basically had him and he had the knife, and Diddy was at this person's mercy. Now, it's unclear what exactly happened from there. Was there a guard that came in? Did Diddy somehow fight this person off?
Think about that for a second. You're Diddy. You're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And you wake up to find an inmate with a blade pressed against your neck. The attacker could have ended him right there. One move and it's over. But he didn't. Instead, he sent a message. He basically said, I can get to you anytime I want. Now, nobody knows what happened next. Did guards show up? Did the guy just leave? Did Diddy somehow fight him off? We don't have those answers, but one of Diddy's friends confirmed the whole story. He said it was pure intimidation. The guy didn't want to hurt Diddy. He wanted to scare him. He wanted Diddy to know that he's vulnerable, that he's not safe, that at any moment someone could reach him. And look, I can't even imagine what that feels like. You can't sleep, you can't relax, you're constantly looking over your shoulder. That's psychological torture right there. So let's talk about what the ex-mobster Michael Franz had to say about all this. This guy served time himself, so he knows what he's talking about. After someone gets sentenced, they go back to their cell feeling disappointed, angry, wondering what if. What if the judge had been more lenient? What if the jury saw things differently? Franz says Diddy will spend a couple weeks at MDC before being moved to his permanent facility. And here's what's interesting. The mobster actually thinks the new prison will be better in some ways. More freedom to move around, access to a yard, fresh air, things like that. There's even a drug program that could knock 18 months off his sentence, so if Diddy qualifies for that, he could get out even earlier.
Drug program, you can knock as much as 18 months off your sentence. Now, I don't know if he'll qualify, if they'll allow him to go in, but he'll probably start to think about, okay, what can I do to reduce my time now? That's what everybody thinks when you get in there.
Diddy's lawyers probably requested a facility close to his family in New Jersey. And honestly, that makes sense. Having family nearby for visits can help you get through the time easier. But here's where things get complicated. And this is the part you need to pay attention to. Now, Diddy's sentence actually qualifies him for what they call a minimum security camp. These places are basically the country clubs of prison. No fences, more like a campus, way more relaxed. But the ex-mobster doesn't think Diddy will get into one of those camps. And here's why. He's too high profile and too rich. See, Franz experienced this himself. When you're known to have money, every single inmate wants to make a deal with you. They're thinking about when you get out. They're thinking, this guy could be my golden ticket.
But in a medium security, I don't think he'll have an issue at all. I really don't. He can be too much of a benefit to inmates that are always looking for something. And he could be a golden ticket for some people, at least in their mind.
In medium security prisons, inmates are usually more interested in using you than hurting you. They want business deals. They want connections. They want money. So in a weird way, being rich actually protects you in medium security. But, and this is a big but, that only works if you can actually help them. If they think you're valuable alive, you're safer. If they think you're more valuable dead or silenced, that's when things get dangerous. And with all the rumors about Diddy knowing names of powerful people, kind of like Jeffrey Epstein, that's a scary position to be in. I'm just saying this situation is way more complicated than it looks. So let me show you what Fort Dix is actually like compared to where he was. Diddy's new mugshot from Fort Dix just came out, and honestly, the quality is terrible. We're in 2025 and this is what we get. Come on. But notice something, he's got a lot more gray in his beard now. The stress is showing. Here's the comparison. MDC Brooklyn had rats, bugs everywhere, spoiled food, and stabbings happening all the time. It was genuinely hellish. Fort Dix, it's sprawling. It has outdoor space, better programs, better food, better everything, really. Photos show Diddy smiling, hanging out with other inmates, looking popular. His new job is working in the prison laundry. Not glamorous, but it's honest work. His expected release date is May 2028, so about 2.5 years from now if nothing changes. But here's the question. Is all this better stuff actually better for Diddy, or is it more dangerous? Let's talk about that. This is the part where the ex-mobster's warning really makes sense, and this is why the title for this video is so accurate. The same low security that makes Fort Dix better is also what makes it more dangerous for someone like Diddy. At MDC Brooklyn, security was intense, really intense. It was almost impossible to make unauthorized phone calls or do anything shady. The guards were watching everything. Now at Fort Dix, reports are saying that Diddy has allegedly started contacting powerful industry insiders from his new cell. The security is loose enough that he can reach out to people on the outside. But here's the thing. If he can reach out, others can reach into him too. You see what I'm saying? The looser security cuts both ways. Anyone could get to Diddy, and Diddy could reach anyone else. This is especially dangerous because a lot of people think Diddy knows names. Big names, powerful names, just like Jeffrey Epstein knew names. And we all know what happened to Epstein, right? I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here, but the comparison is definitely there. When you know too much, you become a target. So yeah, Fort Dix might be nicer, but it might also be way more dangerous for someone in Diddy's position. And honestly, that's terrifying to think about. And look, it's already starting. Diddy's already getting into trouble at his new prison. TMZ reported that shortly after his transfer to Fort Dix, guards found him with homemade alcohol. Yeah, you heard that right. He was brewing what they call hooch. It's made from Fanta, sugar, and apples. You let it ferment for about 2 weeks and it turns into a low-alcohol drink. Prisoners have been making this stuff forever. Now, prison officials thought about moving him to a different unit because of this, but they decided against it, at least for now. But here's the problem. This could add more time to his sentence. Breaking prison rules is serious. And if Diddy keeps doing stuff like this, he's going to make his situation worse. I mean, come on, man. You just got to a better facility. Why would you risk it like that? But I guess when you're used to having everything you want, being told no is hard to accept. Now, here's the most shocking part of this whole story. And this is what really blew my mind when I heard it. Mobster Sammy the Bull Gravano spoke out about Diddy's case. Now, if you don't know who Sammy is, he was a high-ranking member of the mob. He knows the RICO law inside and out because he was arrested under it multiple times. And here's what he said about Diddy, and I'm not making this up. He said, "What this guy did is disgusting. There's not a person alive who won't hate him." But then he said something even more shocking. He said if we did that in the mob, we would be killed for it. Let that sink in for a second. A literal mobster, someone who was involved in organized crime, someone who witnessed terrible things, is saying that what Diddy did crossed a line that even the mob wouldn't cross. Sammy explained that the mob had rules. You never touch women and children. That was the code. If someone broke that code, they would be killed by their own people. He mentioned guys like Roy DeMeo and Gaspipe who became like serial killers, killing for no reason. You know what happened to them? They were killed by the mob. And then Sammy said this, and this is a direct quote. If Diddy was in the mob and we knew what he was doing, he would have been killed. There would be no trial. Think about that. Even mobsters who committed murders think Diddy crossed the line they wouldn't cross. That's how bad this is. That's how serious these allegations are. Wow. Just wow. You know what's crazy? Diddy's not even the only famous person in these facilities right now. Luigi Mangione, the guy who allegedly shot that healthcare CEO. He's at MDC Brooklyn right now. So these facilities have experience dealing with high-profile inmates, but being famous in prison is like a double-edged sword. On one hand, you're a target, because people want to make a name off you. They want to say they got Diddy. They want that street cred. On the other hand, you're valuable because people think you can help them when you get out. They think you've got connections, money, influence. The balance between staying safe and not being stuck in solitary confinement for 3 years is almost impossible to find. And honestly, I don't envy anyone in that position. It's gotta be mentally exhausting. Now, there's been a lot of talk about whether President Trump might pardon Diddy. Some people close to Diddy apparently think there's a real chance of this happening, and if it does, with one signature, Diddy could walk out of prison. But the White House has already said no. They said Trump is not going to take any action on Diddy's case. Now, the reporter covering this story put it perfectly. He said, if Trump wants to do something, he'll do it. If he doesn't, he won't. We just have to wait and see. And honestly, that's about all we can say about it right now. It's speculation at this point, but imagine if it did happen. The public outcry would be massive. People would lose their minds. So I don't know. We'll have to see how this plays out. So here's where things stand right now. Diddy's expected to serve about 2.5 more years, with credit for the time he's already served. He wants to get into that drug and alcohol treatment program to reduce his time even more. He's in a facility close to his family like he requested. That's good for him. But every single day he has to balance staying safe with staying sane. He can't be in solitary for years. That's torture. But he also can't be too exposed. That's dangerous. The mobster's warning rings true here. Sometimes the better prison is actually worse. More freedom means more danger. More access means more risk. And for someone who might know powerful names, someone who might have information that certain people don't want to come out, that's a dangerous combination. I mean, look at what happened with the knife attack. That was at the bad prison with tight security. Imagine what could happen at the good prison with loose security. It's honestly scary to think about. So that's why an ex-mobster is warning that Diddy's new prison might be worse than hell. The low security that makes it nicer is exactly what makes it more dangerous. Diddy's already been threatened with a knife once. He's already breaking rules with homemade alcohol. And if the mobsters are right about what he did, even criminals have a code that he broke. So here's my question for you. Drop a comment below and let me know. Do you think Diddy will make it through his sentence safely, or is the low security going to be his downfall? And let me know if you want more updates on this case as things develop. But before you go, if you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button right now. We're constantly bringing you the inside story. If this video opened your eyes to something new, smash that like button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update when major developments break. This story is far from over, and trust me, you'll want to stay tuned for what comes next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.